Hello, I'm Jean-Luc Larivière-Lacombe of the Dungeons Key, and I'm the president of the Indie Game Developer Network. Welcome to the 2025 Indie Groundbreaker Awards. If you're watching this live and you're not already in our Discord party, you're welcome to join us. There's a Discord link in the video's description. I want to point out too, for those of you who want it, you can access subtitles on this video using YouTube's subtitle and captioning tools in the settings below. So, what is the Indie Game Developer Network? The IGDN is an international volunteer trade organization that supports indie analog games and the people that make them. We are steadfast in our promotion of diversity, both among its members and in all facets of gaming. Our members hail from around the globe, from the United States, Canada, to the Philippines, Singapore, Australia, and many more. We encourage and seek out diverse voices to join us, particularly among traditionally underrepresented segments of the larger game community. All game creators and professionals, including women, people of color, indigenous groups, LGBTQIA+, and queer folk, and those with disabilities are encouraged to apply. We support trans rights, and we are formed and operate to help the growth and diversity of an international community of indie developers, and will not tolerate bigotry or harassment of any kind. While the Indie Groundbreaker Awards mostly represents role-playing games, the IGDN also represents card games, board games, LARPs, and all sorts of other analog games. And though we will see some of our members being recognized tonight, the Indie Groundbreaker Awards are open to any indie game developer. So, what is an indie game developer anyway? We believe that anyone who is interested in developing gaming products outside of a large mainstream publisher is an indie game developer. Whether you're printing games at home or running a small booth at your local gaming convention or are somewhere in between, you're among friends. Since 2016, the Indie Groundbreaker Awards have recognized excellence in indie games. We have the absolute honor to spotlight games that push the boundaries of innovation, in promoting diversity, and in expanding what it means to be indie. In order to qualify for the Indie Groundbreaker Award, your game must be, it has to be an analog game, it has to be independently published, complete and available to the public, and released since the last Groundbreaker Awards. Winners of our awards are recognized on our Hall of Fame page, are licensed to use the Indie Groundbreaker Award logo, and are recognized as an award recipient. Winners also receive a plaque for their respective games and categories, while the winner of Game of the Year is invited to display and sell their book at any conventions where the IGDN has a presence. This year, we have 7 categories of awards. That's one more than last year. Most Innovative, Best Art, Best Graphic Design, Best Rules, Best Setting, Best Writing, and Game of the Year. Lastly, this program would not be possible without a lot of help and support. So I want to personally thank this year's participants, to our announcers, and an immense thank you to our panel of judges who this year read through around 119 games. Speaking of which, how about a word from our judges?
Hi everyone, my name is Adam Seats. I'm online at I Know Adam Seats in most places. People have known me for the 2022 ENnie silver winning One Night Strahd that I wrote with a friend of mine, and since then I have blundered my way through the TTRPG career space ever since. You might also know me from some actual plays, and you'll find it. It's been real great. I was very glad to be invited to be a judge this year. I judge, well, I wouldn't want to say judge, but I do work at MagFest for their Indie Tabletop Showcase, at which point I've gone and had to choose which games will make it in for our showcase, and so I brought a lot of that, a lot of my own tastes, and a lot of my own work just in the space over these last few years into sort of looking at what we got. We got so many games this year. We got, well, I mean, I guess it's 2 years worth of stuff, right? But it was like 100 and something games. which was wild, and it really sucked having to pick the best of those games because they were really good. I mean, we obviously you'll see what our choices were, but I think I have 2 honorable mentions, and I am saving them for this because I'm a little biased about it, because I beta tested them before they went out, and so I feel it is only fair to keep them here rather than putting that anywhere. One of them being Dragon Reactor by Nevin Holmes and Quinn Moore. Great game, great. I mean, we made it very cheesy when we played, but if you like giant robots and also lots of emotions, if you're the kind of person who watched Gundam and didn't have the "ooh, cool robots" and the whole allegory of war shooting over your head, it's for you. And the other being Adam Bell's Uneasy Lies the Head, which is a fantastic game, which we also made a lot goofier than it needed to be. Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know, but that one is also a full, board game Bach that does something very similar and is a very self-contained way to play through being conniving politicians in whatever world you want. I thought they were both delightful, but that said, there's so many games. You'll hear from the rest of the judges, but man, what a year! What a very difficult thing to judge. I'm glad that we did, and I don't know, look at the whole list of everyone and just go buy their games, man. They're all good. There wasn't a bad game sent to us. But that's my piece.
Hi, everybody. My name is Wes Franks. My pronouns are they, them. I am a queer, non-binary writer and a designer. I'm a former streamer, actual play performer. I have done it all, everywhere and which way. I love tabletop role-playing games and board games, tabletop games in general, and so I'm really stoked to be able to be a judge this year. You can find some of my own work in the solo game territory with This Old House or 86. That's a recent release. But also I do a lot of design within the Car from Brindlewood space, Vampire the Masquerade, editing on certain projects like Sooth Warden. I've got a lot of stuff in the fire, so you can find my oeuvre wherever you look up Carrying Comfort. That is my personal brand. I used to be, and I'm taking a little break now, the head of RPG Zine Club with Plus One EXP, and I do nothing but read games. I read games that people hand me. I read games that people pitch to me. I read games that I have nothing to do with, and I just want to read them because I like the vibe of them. I spend a lot of my time just going through PDFs and everything. So this was an ultimate joy, having 119 games, I believe, to go through and just assess and read and just kind of envelop without having to have any kind of necessary business thoughts around it and things about marketing. Was great. It was really refreshing. And I highly recommend more folks take the time to have put up their critical thinking caps on when they're reading a lot of the games that they're playing and see what you really enjoy about them. What are the things that make you tick? What are the things that don't resonate with you? I personally stand by all of our decisions that we've made for nominees and those that won. But I have my own personal 2 judges spotlight nominees that I wanted to throw out there. One was Pelagos by Basil Wright. I think it's a really interesting approach to nautical fantasy and even horror that explores grief and loss. It feels very connected to the ocean, like I myself am, and the shoreline and everything. And I really find a lot of evocative writing within it. I remember backing it a handful of years ago for a TTRPG focused thing with crowdfunder.com, and to be able to see it here was really cool. And I've just always been a fan of it and champion of it. And the other one is one that I had a very personal touch and hand with, which is I helped develop, which was Dying of the Light. And I didn't think it would be right to very much push it forward for like nominations and everything like that, because I was so close with it. But I think that is such a beautiful game that is a ritual in of itself. It helps you get really in touch with the city that you live in, but also any kind of city that you're trying to world build, whether it's fantasy, sci-fi, or whatnot. The writer Arthur Wells, Artie, has a really cool approach to just taking apart a setting and putting it back together and leaving your own mark on it, and committing a bit of like ritual magic with it, if you're the kind of person that believes in that sort of thing. The use of candles and cards to kind of help build out this city. I play tested it and I had all the windows open. I live in Washington DC, and this was when I was living on Connecticut Avenue, and there's just nothing but cars honking and everything, so I felt like I was very much in an atmosphere of a city. All the lights were down. So yeah, I highly recommend check out those two. And if anything, check out any of the games that you see on the nominations, and also just, check out more games. Hit up IPR, hit up Itch, hit up Plus One, hit up all these different resources, these different places where you can find these games. Go to your local friendly game stores and dive in and play a new board game, maybe. Try a new trading card game. I know there's really popular ones out there, but there's always new ones that you might find that you enjoy.
Hi everyone. My name is Seraphina Garcia Ramirez, and I was one of the judges for this year's Indie Groundbreaker Awards. I had an amazing time reading all these wonderful games, so many more than we could ever actually give full credit to in one-year awards. But getting the opportunity to see so many different games, some games that I already knew and was excited about, and games that were outside of my personal play culture, and seeing how different people in the indie scene are exploring game design and pushing the boundaries of what these pieces of art can be, it gave me a lot to think about, and it was also just genuinely a blast. So I want to extend my thanks to everyone who submitted their games for nomination for making the past few months to however long it's been a really pleasant time as I go through all these games. If you're interested in hearing more from me, I do writing and design and editing about indie RPGs. You can find me on socials at Seraphina on Blue Sky. You'll also find a link there to my Itch blog, where I post various ramblings at certain points infrequently. Most of it's just theory slop, but if that sounds appealing to you, feel free to check it out. And we nominated a bunch of really cool games, but there are two that we didn't quite get a nomination to that I still want to bring some attention to. The first is What Dust Remains by Momedos. It's a heartbreaking, beautiful game about what it means to have a vision for the future and a legacy you want to leave behind, and what it looks like to balance striving for that dream with living your life while you're here. It's sharing among several players that experience of following the singular character using those really tight mechanics. It was delightful to read, and I think it's a wonderful play experience. Everyone should check it out. The second game that I'll bring some attention to and shout out for everyone is Odd Folk by Maxwell Lander. Odd Folk is a game that's really, really, I think, impressive to me personally because of how it takes a genre that doesn't necessarily thrill me that much, like adventure fantasy, and combines both a personal perspective on it and a new mechanical approach. The way it takes sort of story game powered by the apocalypse moves and reimagines them using a D4 as a simple mechanic, and then the writing of each of those options evokes a very particular experience that made me excited to play in a classic Dungeons and Dragons fantasy game again. So I highly recommend checking it out to anyone who that sounds interesting to. And any of the games that I'm not spotlighting right now are also incredible, and I encourage everyone to go and dive into the indie scene yourself and read more games. There's so much amazing work going on out there, and I think you'll be impressed by what you find.
Ahoy! I'm John Hambone McGuire, and I'm the co-publisher at Ham & Egg Publishing. Today, I am honored to present to you the 2025 nominees for the Indie Groundbreakers Most Innovative Game. Now, the Most Innovative category recognizes the most innovative and unique game design of the year. In 2024, the winner was Last Train to Bremen. So without further ado, the 2025 nominees for Indie Groundbreakers Most Innovative are In Love with the Moon by James Kerr, Spine by Asa Donald, designer-writer, Fert the Goblin, developmental editor, Holly Freiberg, interior art, and Nala J. Wu, prop design. The Times We Have by Elliot Davis, writer, Ripley Ash, illustrator, Samantha Lee, editor, Chainlink by Ethan Yen, game design, Tony Tran, art, and Andrew Bowman, layout and additional art. Uneasy Lies the Head by Adam Bell, designer layout, and Sasha Lee, editing. And now, the winner of the 2025 Indie Groundbreakers Most Innovative Award is Spine. Congratulations to Asa Donald, Fert the Goblin, Holly Freiberg, and Nala J. Wu on your victory.
I want to say thank you to the judges. It's an honor to win Most Innovative in the Indie Groundbreaker Awards this year. It's especially an honor when it's awarded by such an esteemed set of judges who are so steeped in indie games, genuinely. I especially want to thank my contributors, Fert the Goblin, Nala J. Wu, and Holly Freiberg. All of you were critical in Spine's success and in its innovation as well. I believe that right now it's really easy to be innovative in tabletop RPGs. They have a long history, but their modern form really isn't that old. And the more that I design these games, the more that I realize we're really only beginning to understand the formal qualities of these games and what about them is appealing to us. At least that's the case for me personally. There's so many different directions that we can innovate in, and there's so many innovative games released every year. So it's an honor to be named most innovative among them for this year. It's also an honor because this type of award doesn't simply go to the most novel or the most inventive or the weirdest game, but also one that walks a line, one that's palatable and aligns with the scene's current interests. It's one that toes the line enough between the familiar and the new, and the genuine and the gimmick. And Spine was a passion project from the start more than anything else. So I'm really fortunate that it walked that line really well. It was just a playful experiment between solo RPG books and game books, like choose your own adventure novels. It was an experiment with reading as a form of play and with close-ended versus open-ended prompts. Its success has encouraged me to continue making weird games that explore formal qualities of tabletop RPGs, especially as they continue to change and develop in this hobby. So I want to thank everyone again. It's an honor to receive this award.
Hi, I'm Maddie May of Milk Boy Games, and I'm here to present the Indie Groundbreaker 2025 nominees for Best Rules. And the nominees are The Time We Have, written by Elliot Davis, illustration by Ripley Ash, and editing by Samantha Lee. Gladyston, created and written by Lucas Sellers, visual and graphic design by Emily Entner, and illustration by Fran Morton. Looking Presentable by Robin Small. Pale Dot by Devin Nelson, with cover design by Cy Sweetman and editing by Jen Martin. Underneath, writing, design, and layout by Seb Pines, editing by Will Jotst, character art by Mary Verhoeven, and cave photography by Ben Garbo. And the winner of the 2025 Indie Groundbreaker for Best Rules is Looking Presentable by Robin Small. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Todd with Hex Press, and I'm here to present the Best Writing nominees for the Indie Groundbreaker Awards. Uneasy Lies the Head by Adam Bell and Sasha Lee. We Shall Be Monsters by Seb Pines and Sata. Digital Angel by Sandro A.D. Spine by Asa Donald, Fert the Goblin, Holly Freiberg, and Nala J. Wu. And In Love with the Moon by James Kerr. And the winner is Digital Angel by Sandro A.D.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the judges for honoring this labor of longing with such a humbling award. I'd also like to thank my beautiful muse for keeping me sane, my supportive family for fostering my curiosity, my wonderful friends at home and throughout the blogosphere for inspiring me every day, and of course darling Demon Eclipse for her encouragement to make games that were queerer, weirder, hornier, and fiercer than what censorship movements would ever let you see. This game never would have been made without her call to action in Faggot Games and Urgent Warning. To anyone who has ever been afraid of pursuing their own beauty, this one is for you. I hope you'll one day give yourself a chance to spread your wings and dare to be beautiful.
Hi everyone, I'm Allison, Diversity Coordinator at the IGDN and one of the founding members of our sister not-for-profit, the Tabletop Diversity Foundation. Each year, we will be funding and running a program for game designers from underrepresented backgrounds, including 4 months of mentorship and a scholarship to support their work. I wanted to take a minute to introduce you to some of this year's recipients and welcome them into the IGDN and ITDF community. Arman is a game designer, professional GM, cross-media critic, and writer operating out of India, obsessed with the myriad of ways in which stories are told. In one way or another, he is constantly in the process of taking stories apart just to see how they fit together, and what new tales can be made of the pieces. Shotel is a Canadian writer and narrative game designer based in Ottawa. He is developing an original English-language Jubentia-inspired social mystery game, with a focus on deduction, roleplay, emotional tension, and bringing more cross-cultural narrative forms into tabletop spaces. Nikki's a Malaysian Chinese writer with a background in creative writing and film and TV. He is a member of Nightshade Tavern, a Malaysian-based community focused on making TTRPG as accessible to new people as possible, and growing the TTRPG scene in the country. He's written for a few indie TTRPG projects, such as Jackland for Daylight Publications, and has an upcoming project to be released by Unbreakable Publications. Darling Demon Eclipse is a journalist, social worker, and erotic tabletop role-playing game designer from Long Island, New York. Her work mixes the playful, the horny, and the mythological in vibrant prose. She is known for the blog Faggot Games and Urgent Warning, erotic duet games Biotruffication and Dracotrophication, and her upcoming erotic fantasy heartbreaker Sapphic World. Wagner is a game designer, writer, and performance artist. With a background spanning UX design and research, his practice focuses on play as a tool for connection, learning, and transformation. He's particularly interested in how games can translate complex systems into accessible experiences, supporting new ways of thinking. We are so excited to welcome these program recipients and see what amazing work they get up to this year. We'd also like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, without whom we could not provide these amazing opportunities. So thank you to Studio 2, Accidental Cyclops, and Storytellers Forge. And an extremely special thank you to Ghostfire Gaming, whose generous donation this year allowed us to accept an entire additional participant into the program. And finally, thank you to everyone who has donated, supported, mentored, or been involved with making this program such a success this year. Now on with the awards.
Welcome to the IGDN Art Gallery. It is here that we explore our next award category, Best Art. This category really is meant to celebrate all of the art and illustrations that we love and are such an integral part of our own hobby. Good art helps bring a book alive, helps us imagine what is actually happening in that world, and helps inspire us to play the game. So with that, we've got a number of nominees and interesting pieces to show off. So without further ado, let's get into our nominees. Yes, it appears this piece on our first nominee is Mythomorphosis. Gordy Murphy, writer and designer, Juho Choi, lead artist, Jason Cavender, featured artist, Momatos, featured artist, Julianne Munoz, layout artist, and Tyler Crumrine, editor. Ah yes, I know this one. This one, and our next nominee, is Thieves of the Tome by George Philbrick, design, writing, layout, Tom Lowell, cover art, interior art, Eric Swanson, editing, and Rose Fallon, copy editing. The next nominee is Every Villain is a Loser by Riley Quixote, author, and Frederick Hornung, artist. Oh yeah. By those dimensions, this can be none other than Little Wolves, our next nominee. Contributions from Jane Butler, cover art, Tyler Crumrine, editing, Julie Ann Munoz, game and world design, layout, and artwork, Nevin Holmes, game and world design, Basil Wright, cultural consulting and writing, Grindel Menz, art, Damian Jarius, art, and Fernando Salvatore, maps. Our last nominee for art is The Time We Have by Elliot Davis, writer, Ripley Ash, illustrator, and Samantha Lay, editor. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. The winner for Best Art for this year's IGDN Groundbreaker Awards. Okay. Testing my patience with this. Finally. And the winner is... It's blank. Oh! Thieves of the Tome. Congratulations.
Hi IGDN, I'm George, the designer of Thieves of the Tome. When I started designing Thieves, I had a very specific idea of what I wanted out of the visual design. It's something I would describe as like acid punk adventure time with wizards. The point of this is this game is very crazy, lots of spells going off all the time, very book inspired, and it's kind of like a genre mishmash. So I was thrilled when I found out that my friend's punk band Grublord works with an awesome artist whose style not only matched what I had in mind, but, well, I mean, Tom blew all my ideas out of the water. He has been a blast to work with, and I think he more than deserves this award for his work on Thieves. I'll get handed over to Tom.
Well, thanks, George. That was really kind of you. I want to say thank you for this recognition. It feels really good, especially in a time where the world is feeling increasingly hostile towards artists or people who make things, especially if you're just making things for fun or for people's enjoyment. So again, I'm thankful and grateful. I want to thank George specifically and utmost for, coming to me with the idea and the trust and, the complete, just do your thing, Tom. I want to thank my wife for bouncing ideas off of her and always supporting me in my artistic endeavors. And I want to thank my kids for providing inspiration and a creative outlet that I didn't have before. Thank you guys again. Have a good night.
Hey everyone, I'm Spencer Reichley from Bud Stuff Games, and I'm here to present the award for Best Setting. The nominees this year are Punk is Dead by Tim Roberts, Little Wolves by Julianne Munoz and Nevin Holmes, We Wander Beneath Radiant Lights by Kyle Tam, The Goodest Girls by Bridget Winter, Vesta Mandate by Chase Krakowski, Ryan Zenith, and Tony Tran. And the winner this year, We Wander Beneath Radiant Lights. Congratulations to Kyle Tam, Gene Niley Butler, Nemo, and Neon Ron.
Hi, my name is David Piccolomini with DGB Games, and I'm here to present Best Graphic Design for the Indie Groundbreaker Awards. Our first nominee is Chain Link by Ethan Yen, Tony Tran, and Andrew Bowman. Then we have What Should We Have Tomorrow by Aaron Lim, Ella Lim, Thar Chandran, and Mandy Forthreset Chun. Then we have Little Wolves by Julianne Munoz, Nevin Holmes, Jane Butler, Tyler Crumrin, Basil Wright, Grendel Menz, Damian Gyrus, and Fernando Salvatierra. Next, The Time We Have by Elliot Davis, Ripley Ash, Samantha Lee, Max Beach, Wes Cahall, John Gagne, Evangeline Gallagher, Sonia Hanar, B. Marcellier, Justin McElroy, Jonah Knorr, Connor Nolan, Nadir Nar, Raul Volpato, Victor Winter, and Carly AF. And finally, Fight or Fright by Alex Marinkovic Josie, Mike Ryman, and Grace Elzenhut. And the winner is What Should We Have Tomorrow? So congratulations to Aaron Lim, Ella Lim, Thar Chandran, and Mandy Forthreset Chun.
Hello, my name is Dora Rogers, and it is my great honor this year to present the nominees for Game of the Year. The nominees are The Time We Have, with writing by Elliot Davis, illustration by Ripley Ash, and editing by Samantha Lee. Spine, with design and writing by Asa Donald, developmental editing by Fert the Goblin, interior art by Holly Freiberg, and prop design by Nala J. Wu. Little Wolves, with game and world design by Julianne Munoz and Nevin Holmes, cover art by Jane Butler, editing by Tyler Crumrine. Cultural Accessibility and Sensitivity Consultation and Writing by Basil Wright. Layout and Artwork by Julianne Munoz. Art by Grindel Menz and Damien Gyrus. Maps by Fernando Salvatierra. Chain Link, with game design by Ethan Yen, art by Tony Tran, and layout and additional art by Andrew Bauman. What Should We Have Tomorrow, with game design and writing by Aaron Lim, layout by Ella Lim, cover art and interior art by Thar Chandran, and interior art by Mandy 437 Chun. And the game of the year for 2025 is Little Wolves.